The Arizona Cardinals heading into week 3 of the 2025 season, and we already got our first division match up versus the San Francisco 49ers. Now, yes, the San Francisco 49ers are plagued with injuries, but this is not a team you should sleep on. What should the Arizona Cardinals do to win this game? Who do I got winning in Santa Clara in week 3? All that and so much more. Let's get started. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back into another video. Definitely do me a huge favor, smack up that like button and subscribe for more Arizona Cardinals content. On this channel, we're covering the Arizona Cardinals news, breaking news, conversational pieces, everything surrounding your favorite team. So subscribe it up. It's absolutely for free. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's dive into this preview. Week 3 Cardinals versus the 49ers. Now, the 49ers already have a division win under their belt, taking down the Seattle Seahawks in week 1, while the Arizona Cardinals have back-to-back division games this week versus the 49ers, and then a short week getting ready for Thursday Night Football versus the Seattle Seahawks. Well, we're going to be, rocking out with the new Nike rivalry jerseys, so I'm actually really excited about that matchup. But first things first, the Cardinals need to go to Santa Clara in week 3 and take on the 49ers. Now, we all know that there's been a abundance of injuries for the San Francisco 49ers. It almost kind of seemed like the trend that kind of leaked into the 2025 season, because the 2024 season was an absolute abysmal SHIT show when it comes down to injuries for the 49ers. And now heading into 2025, it's kind of similar, but obviously we're still just in, heading into week 3. So a couple big names to note out there is going to be, obviously, one of them being quarterback Brock Purdy, which is a guy that just got the big payday in this offseason. And the 49ers run through Brock Purdy. Let's be real. He played a really good game in week 1 versus the Seattle Seahawks, but got hurt during that game. And then in week 2, we ended up seeing Mac Jones. So that is most likely who we're going to be seeing here in week 3. Now, another big superstar on their roster, their tight end, George Kittle, is also hurt and not going to be playing in this game. He has been placed on IR, and I believe he's going to be missing, a total of 2 more games, not including this one. So they are going to be missing some big key assets in week 3 for the Arizona Cardinals matchup. But like I said before, it doesn't matter. This team is still equipped to win. They took down the Seattle Seahawks as well as the Saints. Now, yes, the Saints and the Arizona Cardinals also went toe-to-toe as well in week 1. And they did exactly the same thing. I still do think the Saints are a much better team than people want to give them credit for. They actually fought pretty darn hard versus the 49ers and the Arizona Cardinals. And then next week, they got the Seattle Seahawks. So let's see exactly what they do in week 3. But a massive matchup here for the Arizona Cardinals. We are going to be taking on Mac Jones for his second start of the 2025 season. And I'm going to be real here, ladies and gentlemen. I do believe Mac Jones is a very capable quarterback. They are starting out the season 2-0, just like the Cardinals are. So this is going to be a battle of the undefeated teams. Now, there's still a few other undefeated teams in the NFL, but this is going to be an L on the L column for the team that loses, right? Now, the San Francisco 49ers in Mac Jones, what they were able to do versus the Saints, Mac Jones had a pretty respectable game. He threw the ball for 279 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, had a QBR rating of 66.9, and he got a lot of the wide receivers available, right, to throw the ball to. Juwan Jennings, Ricky Pearsall also got involved, and they also got their tight end involved as well, which I believe is Luke Farrell. If it's not a team that's going to be easy to beat, it doesn't matter that they don't have Brock Purdy. Let's also not forget that Mac Jones was a quarterback that Kyle Shanahan really liked in the draft that they ended up going after Trey Lance. So this is kind of a blessing in disguise for Kyle Shanahan to kind of really see how many games he can potentially win with Mac Jones. And he's got another opportunity at home in Santa Clara to beat the Arizona Cardinals. Now, of course, my Arizona Cardinals are going to be a team that is very good defensively. We still haven't cracked the constant pressure yet, but the big elephant in the room right now for the Cardinals is the fact that our cornerback core, our 3 guys in Max Melton, Garrett Williams, and Will Johnson, are all hurt, and they're all questionable right now. We still haven't heard any updates on that, so that is the biggest concern for the Cardinals in the injury front. But let's be real, ladies and gentlemen. Let's talk about the X factors here for the 49ers, the guys you got to keep your eyes on, and these are going to be my list of 49ers you got to keep your eyes on. They're going to be running through Running back Christian McCaffrey, he's a dangerous threat in the passing game as well as the running game. The Arizona Cardinals need to find some sort of way to limit his productivity. Now, I know easier said than done, but if there is some way that the Arizona Cardinals can limit him, I think the Cardinals can be in a very, very good spot at the end of week 3. So, Christian McCaffrey, public enemy number one. You got to keep your eye on him. Mac Jones, I put him on my list here because I think he had a really respectable game versus these Saints. And, he hasn't played bad. He really hasn't played bad. I don't mean he's not a mobile quarterback. He's more of a pocket quarterback, but if he wants to use his legs, he could probably run out of the pocket. I mean, not very fast, but he can definitely use his legs if need be. Wide receiver number one, at least the number one target we need to keep our eye on is going to be Jawan Jennings. They also do got Ricky Pearsall as well, former first-round pick, but this is going to be the guy you really need to keep your eye on, right? Big, explosive playmaker that can go ahead and take the top off of a defense. This is the guy you need to keep your eye on in Jawan Jennings. Number 4, edge rusher in Nick Bosa. This guy is an absolute wrecker, man. He is a big force on the edge, and I hope he doesn't line up on the right-hand side of our line. He probably is because we got a real big weakness on the right side with Isaiah Adams, obviously heading into his year 2, and his first official start as far as being a right guard. And then you got Jonah Williams, which has been kind of an eyesore for the Arizona Cardinals, unfortunately. I'm hoping, fingers crossed that he's going to be able to protect Kyler Murray back there, but Nick Bosa is definitely going to be somebody you have to double team. Now, who else did they got on their defensive line? They got some players, right? They got rookie edge rusher Michael Williams, definitely somebody to keep your eye on as well. They also got Jordan Elliott as well, and is it Kalea Davis? Not really guys that I know, right? But also got Bryce Huff. They got some other players on there as well on the defensive line. So the big one right there is Nick Bosa, right? That's going to be the number one guy you really got to keep your eyes on, and he can wreck a game, absolutely, if you allow him to do so. Number 5, Fred Warner. Now, this is not one of those things where I feel like he's the 5th biggest X factor. No, this is not in any specific order. I want to be very, very clear. Fred Warner is still one of the best middle linebackers in the entirety of the NFL. He really is. And already he's got 11 tackles, 1 forced fumble. And this can be a guy that can be a pain in the neck for the passing game as well as the running game for the Arizona Cardinals. So although we are a run-heavy team, right, quote-unquote run-heavy team with James Conner and Trey Benson, Fred Warner is going to be a savage in the middle of the field. So these are my biggest X factors that I feel like the Arizona Cardinals really need to keep their eye on. But overall, their roster is fairly good. Like, they got a good roster, right? Even their second string running back in Brian Thomas Jr. that they ended up trading for. This is a team that's going to want to start off 3-0 on the season, as the Arizona Cardinals are going to want to as well. We need to start off the season at 3-0. Let me give a huge shout out here to the sponsors of the AZ Sports Fan here on YouTube, none other than Sleeper. Looking for an app to have a lot of fun with here on Mondays, Thursdays, and Fridays. Make sure you check out Sleeper on your initial deposit. Using promo code AZSF gets you a 100% deposit match up to $100 on your first initial deposits. And if you create the best roster you can by using players like Kyler, Mac Jones, Jawan Jennings, Christian McCaffrey, and try to get their hires and lowers and create the best roster you can, you could potentially have a big payout, right? So make sure you use promo code AZSF on the Sleeper app. Make sure you get it. Everything will be in the description below of this video. Now, here's a big question out there. How are the Arizona Cardinals going to be able to use Marvin Harrison Jr. when we saw Marvin Harrison Jr. last week go toe-to-toe with J.C. Horn? Now, it wasn't every single snap, but unfortunately, Marvin wasn't a big factor in terms of the ball getting thrown to him as much, right? I think he had a total of 5 targets in this last game. It was less than 30 yards, and we really wanted to build off of week 1, which he had a really good game for the Arizona Cardinals as wide receiver number 1, and we were hoping that translated, but unfortunately, a regression ended up happening for the production of Marvin Harrison Jr., but who are guys that are potentially going to cover Marvin, right? Well, they got Renardo Green, they got Deamador Lenore, as well as Upton Stout, so they got some players out there as well. This is the time where the Arizona Cardinals and Marvin Harrison Jr. really needs to step out of their comfort zone. And although we're a run-heavy team, right, quote unquote, and I keep saying that because so far the run hasn't looked good this year, I need this Arizona Cardinal team to chuck the ball down the field. Like, I need these big explosive chunk plays to really make a mark in this game. I feel like who's going to win this game is really going to come down to probably the team who has the most defensive stops, the team that's going to have a turnover defensively, right? One of those guys, and on top of that, explosive plays. The Arizona Cardinals have not been very good in explosive plays this year, which is very, very unfortunate, especially when you got guys like Trey McBride as well as Marvin Harrison Jr. We need to average at least 2 to 3 to 4 explosive plays, and unfortunately, the Cardinals probably have 1 or 2 if we're lucky in explosive plays. We are very run the ball heavy type of offense, and then chucking the ball on over to the running backs out of the backfield, right? Trey Benson. You also got James Conner, and then the other guys we got in the depth when it comes down to the Cardinals. So we need to be able to chuck the ball down the field, right, or throw the ball down the field, because it's going to be very important to get these explosive plays, especially against this defense that at one point was feared to be maybe top 5. I still do think they got a lot of good pieces on this defense, and I'm talking about the 49ers, but I probably wouldn't say top 5 or top 10, but they're still a real solid defense. They got a lot of good pieces like Nick Bosa as well as Fred Warner. So we got to make sure that we pin our ears back, cover for Kyler Murray, and run the ball down their throats, because that is our bread and butter. And if that doesn't work, like it hasn't been working in the past 2 weeks, then we're probably going to be in pretty big trouble. Here's another thing I want to know, right? Here's another thing. The Arizona Cardinals right now are sitting at 2-0. The 49ers are sitting at 2-0. The Cardinals have back-to-back division games. The Seahawks have had our number for years. They've been sweeping us for years. So this is a game you have to get right. You have to win this game. Now, on my initial prediction, right, when I did this, my final prediction before the season started, I actually had the Cardinals losing this game, right? But I had the Cardinals going 1-1 between this stretch in the NFC West, whether it's a win on the Seahawks or it's a win on the 49ers, right? So I want to say I would love to start off at 3-0 or 4-0. I still think that if there is a path for the Cardinals to win this game, they can win this game. It's just a lot of factors need to work out for us, right? And then on top of that, this is an away game, but we're going to have to play in the elements of Santa Clara, which, let's be honest, California's got some really, really nice weather over there, so it's not going to be too bad, but you got the elements of the fans on there, right? The Cardinals actually do play better, not in our home stadium, too. So this is going to be a very tricky game to try to predict on what's going to happen. To lean on my side of homerism, I am going to say this game is going to be a one-possession game. I don't think nobody's going to blow each other out. I think this game's going to come down to a Cardinals win. I know I initially had the 49ers winning this game, but I'm going to say Cardinals win in this one. I'm going to say 28-23 Cardinals win in this game. And now, yes, can it happen? Yeah, absolutely it can. But a lot of things need to work out for us, right? You need to pressure Mac Jones. You need to make sure he's uncomfortable, and you need to somehow limit McCaffrey, and you cannot have those explosive plays on the defensive side of the ball. And I know that's a lot to ask for when a lot of your cornerbacks are currently hurt. This might be a shootout. This might be a shootout that we're in for right now. So we're gonna have to kind of wait and see how this all shakes out. But I do have the Cardinals winning this game, and it might be a little bit of a homerism, but it's all good. But ladies and gentlemen, let me know your overall thoughts on this game. I know the national perception out there for the Arizona Cardinals isn't very good. I mean, if the game ended up 27 to like 9, like it should have versus the Panthers, we probably would be higher in a lot of power rankings. But a lot of power rankings have the Arizona Cardinals somewhere around the 16 to 18 mark because of how easy their schedule actually was. You win this game in Santa Clara, power rankings will put you somewhere in the top 15, maybe top 12, top 11. Hell, some people might even say crack top 10. You never know, right? So this is a big game for the Arizona Cardinals to come in here into Santa Clara and really hopefully pull off a W. But ladies and gentlemen, let me know your overall thoughts. Put it in the comments below. Appreciate y'all for tuning in as always. Have a great rest of your day, and go Cardinals.